All right, nerds. So this is what I like to call the episodic content, aka TV and streaming. So stuff that, you know, you can get over your bunny ears or get on cable or from Netflix and HBO Max and Disney Plus, etc., etc., etc. This comes from a much longer video called The Week in Nerddom that exists over on the main channel. You can go check that out. There's a bunch of other news there, but also don't forget to swim around here while you're on the Nerd News Clips channel and see all of the other content that isn't also on the main channel. But, you know, since we're here, let's talk about TV streaming and such. Let's talk TV streaming. In today's TV streaming section, we're talking about Keanu Reeves might not be coming back as Constantine. We're going to get into that, as well as Last of Us Season 2 details, baby. And yeah, some Superman stuff that's kind of out of left field. So let's talk about all of these things. First up in follow-ups and corrections. The first piece is Constantine 2. Keanu Reeves said recently that the sequel is being, quote, re-evaluated. Said something along the lines of he's not sure if they want him to come back to that role, which we've speculated that this might happen. So it shouldn't really come as a shock that this is happening right now. Hopefully, though, James Gunn will see it as an Elseworlds possibility and keep it moving forward because he is into fan service, and this would be a pretty different kind of fan service, because if you're a fan of the Hellblazer, right? John Constantine. If you're a fan of those books, the John Constantine books, I'm pretty sure it's Hellblazer, then the Keanu Reeves movie's not really anything like the Hellblazer books, but it still has this weird place in your heart, right? Because Keanu Reeves, kind of sort of comic book adaptation and just bizarre craziness. So yeah, again, it would be a different kind of fan service because these are not your normal comic book fans that really love this movie, which means there's probably a lot more people who love this movie than other comic book movies that are a little more niche like that. Okay, so yeah, hopefully this doesn't go south. We will be keeping tabs on it as we continue. Let's move over now to Last of Us Season 2. We actually have a couple of updates on Season 2. First up, there is in fact going to be a Season 2, and very likely at the very least a Season 3. So Season 2 is going to be happen, and it is going to be split into it's going to be based on the second game, which makes sense because they really rushed through getting to the end of the first game in order to make Season 1, which is a whole other conversation we are going to have in this week's That Just Happened episode. So make sure you tune in for that. But yeah, so it's going to be based on the second game. It is going to be told over the course of at least 2 seasons, though they have very specifically not been specific about how many seasons they intend to stretch that story over, because yeah, it makes more sense. You have these very impactful moments that really, the build up to these moments, as we learned in Season 1, could be an entire season's worth of build up. So yeah, I think they're realizing that now because, again, Game of Thrones, we split some of those books into multiple seasons, the 2 seasons specifically, but I don't know, different way of storytelling. The other piece that we have on this is also related to Season 2, and that is that it's going to be different. It is going to still be based on the game. The broad strokes are going to be the second Last of Us game, but showrunner Craig Mazin has said that Part 2 will be different from the game. There is no specifics as to what they're planning on changing, though if you are a fan of the series, or at least casually aware of the controversy that surrounds the second game, then you kind of have an idea of what very probably is going to be adjusted. I don't think they're going to get rid of the divisive elements. Again, trying to keep this fairly vague. I don't think they're going to get rid of the divisive elements entirely. I think they're going to tell the story better. I think they learned a lot from season 1, and they learned a lot from the blowback of game number 2, and they're going to take that combined knowledge and give us something much, much better, I hope. Moving right along though, next we have The Acolyte, the Sith-based Star Wars series that is going to be coming to Disney Plus. Was supposed to be coming to Disney Plus, I believe, by the end of 2023, has now been moved back to 2024, which seemingly confirms rumors that we talked about a few weeks ago, and then what we talked about last week with Iger saying, all right, we gotta slow down with this output because we're not doing our best, and we need to be doing our best in order to make money. And they are a company whose interest is money, so that makes sense. That's all we got for that, though. Next is a follow-up on the Nevers situation. So the HBO Max series that was done by Joss Whedon only got one season on HBO Max, didn't even get the entire season that they filmed, just the first 6 episodes, 6 out of 12 episodes. So it got removed from HBO Max. We've talked about this as a TLDR. It got removed from HBO Max and then got picked up by Tubi. And if you, like me, went over to Tubi a couple of weeks ago and then again last week and went, all right, it definitely should be here. Where the hell is it? Well, let me explain. So if you, again, want to watch this Nevers series, it is on Tubi. It's just not on demand on Tubi. So you have to watch, and I haven't been able to find what channel it's supposed to be on, because Tubi, like other free streamers, has free live television, which is really just a stream of old things that they have the rights to stream. But still, it's good stuff on there. So yeah, it is going to be, they do it in chunks. So if you don't catch the chunk, it doesn't cycle that often. It cycles like once every 2 weeks or something along those lines. So yeah, and it's over the course of 3 days, and it's going to be very difficult if you have, you know, like a day job or a life to catch this. But it kind of is what it is. Hopefully, eventually it does get pushed over to the on-demand side of Tubi, but who knows? That's all we have for follow-ups and corrections, so let's talk about some regular-ass news. In regular-ass news, this one's a lot of fun. This is my first exposure to the character of Superman. The 1940s Max Fleischer Superman animated movies, series, things, cartoons are going to be released on Blu-ray come May. These are iconic. If you've never seen, I believe this is the first instance of animated Superman, not the first instance of Superman on screen, because I'm pretty sure there was a live action one before the animated one, and then also kind of similarly related, there were a bunch of radio plays before television was a thing. So not the earliest instance of Superman in the mass pop culture, but earliest instance of animated Superman as far as I know. It's great. The Max Fleischer stuff is fantastic. I used to have VHSs of most, if not all of them when I was a kid, and totally worth a watch as soon as it launches. Again, coming out in May. Couldn't find the specific day in May, but I would imagine sometime in the first 2 weeks. Just throwing that out there, seeing what sticks. That's what we got for regular ass news, though. Let's talk now suggestions in TV streaming. Suggestion is Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 2. The reason I'm suggesting you go watch this episode, or maybe catch up and then watch this episode, 2 words. MYTHOSAUR. Or SAR, whatever. MYTHOSAUR is a thing. Go watch it. Just saying. Once again, nerds, that was a short section that comes from a longer video on the main channel, Generally Nerdy, YouTube or Rumble. Take your pick. I'm on both. You can go find it there. You can go find all of the other news there as well, including the live episode. We do a live episode roughly once a week, every Friday evening. You can join the conversation live, or you can just leave comments here on this one or any of the other ones you find on the Clips channel. Thank you very much, nerds. We've got other news to discuss in other videos, but while we're getting out of here, don't forget that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.